If you've thought about starting a detailing business, you've probably asked yourself, should I go mobile and go to the customer, or should the customer come to me to my home garage? So in this video, I'm just gonna weigh the pros and cons between each and just give you a better clarification of what makes more sense to you and then what I recommend most people do. Let's get started. So let's start off with the pros. Number one being the cars come to you, that's a given. That means you don't have to worry about traffic or you driving through other places. Everyone literally just brings their vehicle to you. And that's always very convenient, easier for you. And then you can also do more intensive services. So if you're mobile, you might be limited perhaps on doing paint correction, ceramic coating, wheels off details, smoke odor removal, just because you might not have the best environment to work in. Maybe it's at an apartment, maybe it's outside on a driveway with a bunch of trees that are just dropping acorns and bugs and leaves all the time. So you are able to remove a lot of those obstacles because you're at your home garage and you can set it up however you see fit based on how much size or space you have. And you can be much more comfortable working at your house in your garage versus just somewhere else. So those are definitely big pros for you. More convenient, more flexible, and perhaps you can get probably better quality just because, again, you're in control of your environment versus going somewhere else where you're not in control of your environment. Now let's talk about the flip side of that and some cons to working out of your home garage. Now it can be making the customer bring the vehicle to you in the first place, right? Like, let's get real, I was in the same situation where you might not live in the best of areas, right? So maybe there's some reluctancy or some hesitation for a customer to drop off their vehicle at your location. That's a thing. Your home garage just simply isn't really set up to bring in more vehicles. Maybe there's already 4 vehicles in your driveway. Maybe you always have friends or family members over or little kids running around and it's kind of hard to focus because you always have distractions going on. Maybe there's already a bunch of stuff in the garage and you have to like move a lot of things out of the way, and it makes it more inconvenient for you every single time you get a vehicle for you to work in there because you got to move a lot of things around. So there could be a lot of things if you don't have the garage set up, if there's a lot of distractions, getting the customer to drop it off to you, those could all be problems depending on your current situation. And another thing too is perhaps you might have to shuttle the customer back home, right? So if they're gonna drop it off, well, you know, maybe they might ask you, hey, can you take me back or can you pick me up afterwards because this is my only vehicle. Now this isn't just a home garage thing here at our shop. We get sometimes, very minimally, get asked to take someone back home. Now for us, if they're within like 8 miles, 5 miles, we'll shuttle them back to their office or to the home location. If it's anything past that, they'll have to get Ubered or they'll wait. Now that being said though, we don't get asked that frequently. I mean, it's been probably months since we've actually taken someone back to their wherever location. Again, it has to be in a very close proximity to us. Other than that, they just drop it off and they'll Uber back, or they have someone already coming to pick them up as soon as they drop it off. So again, that's not really like a home garage thing. It's more of a general, they're dropping off their vehicle, they might need a ride. So that's just something to consider. And one thing I do want to add to that though is that if you always work at your home garage, this isn't factual or true, it's just something I've kind of observed to where you have a much more relaxed mindset when you're working at your home garage versus if you go mobile, meaning you don't feel as much in a rush. You don't really have that sense of urgency to get things done because you're at your home, right? So you're kind of like, oh, this is my garage, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it here for so many hours and whatever. So again, not that I'm holding this, you know, it's not a black and white answer, but you do develop this sense of urgency, this faster pace when you're mobile because you're somewhere else versus your home garage. And for me, I think it's helped me in our shop just because when you're out mobile, you develop this different pace of movement. You think differently, right? You have to beat the weather, you have to beat the customer's time. And you know, taking those characteristics and moving them to like a shop setting, you just kind of, it is more relaxed, it is a lot more convenient in our own shop, but you still have the mentality of moving fast, of moving at a faster pace, and I think it still helps how we operate. So that could be something if you aren't used to like working out in the field and such, and you're just at home, you're like, oh, this is so nice. It's like, well, it's not really always like that if you're coming from like a mobile environment. And now let's switch over to the mobile side. So starting off with the pros is that you're able to cast a wider net of who your customers are. Meaning with a home garage, typically speaking, right, you're gonna have a area that you usually service, meaning customers come to you. I mean, just think about it. If there's a pizza shop, you know, if there's 10 pizza shops within 8 miles of you, are you willing to drive 30 miles for another pizza shop when you have so many options near you, right? Now, don't get me wrong, some might, depending on what pizza shop it is, but generally speaking, you're gonna stay within this proximity because you don't wanna drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes to go get a pizza when there's plenty of options around you. So being mobile is that you're actually able to go to them, so your proximity or area that you can service is much wider, right? Like here in Houston, you know, I could drive 30, 40, 50 miles and still be like within a range of Houston, depending on where you are and such. But the further you can drive, or you're willing to drive, the bigger the area you're able to service, which means the bigger market of people you're able to service. Again, if people just come to you, that service area might be this big, but if you're able to travel to them, depending on your area and a few other things, that service area might be this big. So going to the customer, cast a wider net for your potential customers. Second thing is that it's a lot more convenient to the customer. So this is an easy selling point and value that you can give to your customer of, yes, we go to your home, office, apartment, or wherever location, you just stay there and we can bring everything to you and get it done right there. It's very convenient, very easy. And again, it just asks for more flexibility to the customer and to your schedule, depending on what you're doing and how many customers you're scheduling, but that is a big selling point. And then third is pretty easy, is that like you don't have to worry about where you live or your home garage or whatever, because you're going out to the customer, right? That's the essence of being mobile, is you're going out to them. And I said that just because, again, I've been in the same situation, many of us are in the same situation, to where, you know, the area that you're in, you wouldn't really want customers to bring your vehicle there. That's not something you really want to push on, because it's just like, it's not really fit for a home garage detailing. Like, it's just not something that you'd want to do. So, you know, offering mobile services, you're able to go to them and like you just eliminate that together. And again, like, you don't have to have this crazy setup. It just, as long as you're able to take whatever equipment that you have or need to the customer's location and get the job done, that's all that matters. Now, to piggyback off that, let's go to the cons now. Being mobile means, well, you need a vehicle, and if you have, you know, a small pickup truck, you have like a compact SUV or something similar to that, maybe like a crossover, that's big enough to fit some equipment. That's big enough to carry your polisher, your vacuum, maybe a pressure washer and things like that. But to a lot of you that you might have like a sedan or a coupe or just a smaller vehicle that you don't have that much room, it might be a bit more difficult. Like, again, for me, I started out of my 2003 Toyota Matrix XRS, and I folded down the back seats and I crammed as much as I could. And then I upgraded to a 2009 HHR panel, which there isn't that much room in there anyways, either. But I was able to cram as many things as I could. I didn't carry a pressure washer or a water tank or a or air compressor for literally like 7 years, and I still got the job done because I didn't have that much space. I didn't want to cram like reels and all that in there, so I literally did not carry that stuff. So I've seen it. I mean, you can see my playlist when I review mobile details. I mean, I've seen people work out of sedans, out of Hondas, out of Jeep Wranglers. So if you're saying, well, I only have this small sedan, it's like, well, I've seen plenty of people work out of sedans, work out of Jeep Wranglers, work out of small pickup trucks. Like, it is possible if you want to get it done. And it's like, yes, it might not be like a Ford Transit or a ProMaster, but it's like you can still get enough in there to just go and start, right? I'm not saying get a pressure washer and water tank and air compressor and water pump and generator and all that, but it's like you have enough room to just carry the basic essentials to go get the job done. Like, that's what I did for so many years. I just carried the essentials to go get the job done. Now we have a big van and all the reels and all the toys and all the machines that you need. But in the early phases, not even early phase, but for many years, I didn't carry everything because I didn't want everything, because I didn't have room for everything. Now, another problem that you run with mobile detailing is the weather. I mean, even right now in Texas or in Houston, it's been raining for the last 2 weeks. So you have to be very careful on your feet, seeing, what time is it gonna rain, where is it gonna rain, how much is gonna rain, because this can heavily affect the schedule. If we have 3 mobile jobs and that day is supposed to rain 80%, well then, okay, like where is it raining? What time is it raining? Is that really gonna affect our schedule? And a lot of times you are just rescheduling last second. Customers are gonna wanna cancel because they're like, hey, it might rain, like, let's reschedule like next week or something. So the weather does play a big factor. I mean, when it's cold outside in winter times, the interior doesn't dry as fast. It's harder to wash vehicles because it's cold. So weather will always play a factor. Even right now during summertime, it gets outrageously hot. It's very humid, so you have to contend with that the entire time that you're working out there. So the weather will play a big factor to how you operate and how you run your business. The next thing is you will drive around a lot depending on your area and your customers, right? So like if you're in a small town with like 200,000 people, it's probably not that big. You're probably driving, however many miles, I don't know, wherever you live, make that make sense. But like for here in Houston, where, there's 2.4 million people, it's very large. So like, it's not uncommon to drive like 30, 40, 50 minutes, depending on the customer, depending on like where the first one is and where the second one is. So there's some days where like maybe we have like 3 or 5 maintenance customers on one day, and they're kind of scattered all over the place. So it might be 30 minutes this way, 20 minutes this way, 40 minutes this way, 15 minutes this way, 40 minutes this way. And a lot of time it's just eaten up in driving alone. And then factor in if there's construction on certain highways, if there's traffic at given times. And that's something that you'll have to kind of learn which ways to not to go or what times you need to leave your shop to get to the customer's home or location on time. So the actual driving part can be a big factor to how many cars you can get done, because here at a shop, like, yeah, we can get 3-4 cars dropped off in one day, and it's like it's all here. We're just working. Whereas trying to fit 3 or 4 cars being mobile, well, we got to plan the routes. We have to guesstimate pretty accurately what time we'll be done with that car to make it in time to the other one, while still including maybe a break, while still including the time for traffic, if there's the routes that would take and any closures. So there's a lot more planning with mobile jobs versus having cars come to you. Now, with the pros and cons of the shop and the mobile, my recommendation is always going to be start off as a mobile detailer, because one, that's how I started, and I feel like I learned a lot more going that route versus trying to stay at my home garage. But then two, it just going over the pros is that you're just able to you're able to service a larger area. You can just get started like this weekend. If you have the tools and products, like you could just start going to the customer's location. If you have friends, family members, just go and start with them and drive over there. And the few customers that you get that are more intensive services, just say, hey, do you mind dropping that off at my home? So it's like you can still do a hybrid of both, right? Like even as much as I said I don't want cars to come to my home garage, it still happened every now and then when the customer just wanted to drop it off because maybe they didn't have room at their home, or whatever was going on over there. So they'll come drop it off at my home garage. So it's a little bit of a hybrid, but maybe 80% leaning towards mobile detailing. And again, you don't have to go get a van, you don't have to go get a truck, just get started with what you have. So to me, I would say always start as a mobile detailer, and over time, you can move into your home garage. Now, I say home garage, but most people want a shop. So if you are looking for a shop, just getting started, I would eliminate that idea altogether. Don't even think about getting a shop or looking around or what's the pricing or what's this or what's that, because you don't have any cash flow, you don't have revenue, you don't have customers. So it makes no sense whatsoever to try and go and get a shop or look for one and see how much it costs if you have no money coming in. But if so that's why I recommend mobile. Now, you work mobile, you get the revenue up, get the cash flow up, and then you think about getting a shop. That's my opinion. Can you still be as successful and do everything the same if you're working at your home garage? Yes, of course. I've seen it work both ways. Just me, as my opinion, I always recommend going mobile, because for me, that's a path I took and I see more benefit that route. But is it a black and white answer? No, you can 100% still start your business out of your home garage. 100%, yes you can. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because I've seen it happen as well. The more important part that I want to tell you is that you have to take action though, right? Whether you choose to be mobile or a home garage, like don't take 3 months or 3 weeks or 3 years to make that decision. Like just make it right now and this week and start doing it, right? If you want to be home garage, okay, well, start texting your friends, family members, coworkers, say, hey, I started a detailing business. Do you want to drop off your vehicle this weekend so I can detail it, right? If you want to go mobile, hey, I just started my detailing business. I'm mobile. I'll come out to you. Do you want your car washed this Saturday? Like start taking action now, because no matter which way you look at it, at some point you have to say, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and get started right now. Let me actually take action. If you're not taking action, it doesn't matter what you're planning, what you're thinking, what you're writing, if you're not going to do anything with it. So most importantly, between either is actually go and take action now and get started now, because whether you wait 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years, you're gonna run through the same problems. No amount of money, resources, information, training will get you 100% ready to go and start. Just go and do it and you'll learn as you go. And I'll end the video right here. Let me know what you would recommend in the comment section down below. You can download the ultimate guide to start your detailing business, the 8 detailing services you should offer, or you can check out my podcast, the Detailing Business Class Podcast, all linked down below in the description box. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you on the next one.